Well, they say that you're a fool. You believe in magic.
I'm Paranormal Pete, and I'm on a journey to seek answers to the questions that have crossed all of our minds. What happens to us when we die? Is there an afterlife? I'm a regular guy who discovered the gift of psychic mediumship in my 30s. My passion for history and the unknown have put me right here, right now. My mantra for anything paranormal is, we don't know much and anything is possible. Join me as we find our way through the stories, evidence, and experiences of the paranormal and beyond in search of answers, even if that leads to more questions. Are you with me?
Some hocus pocus filling up inside. And I think somebody's making.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Pete, and we're here on the Sacred Spiral Network at sacredspiralnetwork.com. Be sure to check that out because there's a ton of great shows on there. Tonight, we have a very special guest joining tonight who is also a show host on Sacred Spiral Network. Let me know if you can hear me out there. I might be having some audio here. Check. All right. Technical goblins coming in already. So yeah, let me know if you can hear me out there or if something's going on. Rachel checking in. Thank you. Says can hear me. Okay. There we go. Good deal. But yeah, welcome to the show. This is episode 12. We got Michael Zinn coming on tonight. I been honored to be on his show a couple of times. And we've just had really great conversations. So I'm really excited to have him tonight. Plus, he's also a bass player. And so, bass player power. Got a few things going on coming up. I have new Ghost Walk. I'm going to do a couple of summer dates, and I'll have those out real soon. And my fall schedule for the Ghost Walks that'll be coming out pretty soon. So yeah, just keep an eye out. You can find all that at portgambleparanormal.com. And so when I get new dates posted, they'll be up on there and you'll be able to get tickets. So the summer ones are always a lot of fun because well, I don't know why, but we seem to get activity, and some of the best evidence I've captured over the years came from the summertime. So I don't know why that is, but might be a Port Gamble thing. I'm not sure, but you can check out portgambleparanormal.com for info on coming and learning about the history and the ghostly side of historic Port Gamble right here in Puget Sound. For those out watching or commenting, go ahead and let me know where you're watching from, city or state, whatever. And always helps if you put hashtag live. That always seems to help out all the streaming engines to push it to the right places. So, but feel free to say hi and join the conversation tonight. And it's going to be a good one. You can ask questions throughout the show, and I'll do my best to get to those. And hopefully we can get to everybody. Hey, Michael's checking in. Central Kids app for Rachel. Great. Thank you, Michael, for doing that. But he's kind of a tech whiz, so we'll see what we get into tonight. But some other things coming up. Of course, the 17th annual Port Gamble Ghost Conference is coming up in November. So it's November 6th through the 8th. It's the oldest ghost conference on the West Coast. It's a lot of work to put on, but it's worth it. It's a lot of fun. That's November 6th through 8th. 2026, and there should be a link on portgambleparanormal.com, but you can find the conference on portgamble.com. It's a town event, right? It's 3 days, speakers, classes, and investigations, and some special events as well. And in fact, our uh, station host owner, Kelly Brickle's been a part of the conference a few times, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a good place to come meet like-minded people, share stories, share your experience with other people, and not be judged for your experience. The applications are out right now at portgamble.com for speaking, vending, and classes, and we're just kind of barely starting to go through all of those. So if you applied, hang tight. But if you're interested in applying to be a speaker, a class instructor, or a vendor, just go to portgamble.com and go under the events tab there. General admission tickets will be coming soon. Next month, I'm going to be filming for an exciting YouTube series. I don't think I can say what it is yet, but that's going to be in June. So stay tuned for that. I'm really excited. I think it's going to be really cool. And I'm just going to be providing the history for that particular show. So, yeah, it's going to be great. So stay tuned. At the Paranormal Pete Show page on Facebook or YouTube. But I'll be posting about it when I can. And anyways, I'm really excited about that. And lastly, but not least, if you like my intro music to the show, that's my band Steady Rock Cosmonaut. Shameless self-promotion going on. But you can look us up at steadyrockcosmonaut.com or listen to us on all the major streaming channels. But that's one of my favorite songs we do, called Magic, and so it's been a part of my show for 4 years or so, or as long as I've been doing the show. So it's just that song really means a lot, and I hope you enjoy it and go listen to it. But tonight, let's get into it. I'd like to bring our special guest on tonight, Michael Zinn, and he does a lot of really cool things, and I really like his perspective on topics of the metaphysical or beyond that. My buddy Rob saying I need to put a link in the pan chat. All right. But Michael does so many cool things. Bring him on here. He is a visual artist, creative producer, podcast host, and lifelong explorer of consciousness. Through his company, Photosynthesis, Michael creates visual content, immersive environments, photography, video, projection experiences, and multimedia storytelling for artists, business events, and spiritual communities. He's also the host of the live stream of Consciousness, a show that brings together mediums, healers, creatives, experiencers, and deep thinkers for open conversations about spirituality, intuition, energy, creativity, and the mystery of what it means to be human. What a mystery that is. He also hosts Holding Space on Sacred Spiral Network as well. His approach to the paranormal and metaphysical, where he approaches it with curiosity, humor, creativity, and a grounded desire to understand how unseen experiences shape our everyday reality. Very well said. Let's bring on Big Paranormal Pete Show. Welcome to Michael Zinn.
Hey, what's happening, Pete? Good to see you.
Oh, thanks, man. So great to have you on, and I'll just let everybody know. Maybe there's some others there with you. Michael's on the East Coast, so it's very late for him, and just want to thank you for making time to stay up late and talk
Oh,
about
totally. Yeah, no
ghosts and
worries.
whatever
No
else.
worries. There was a time in life when it was actually very early right now, this time on the East Coast for me, but at this point in my life, yeah, it's late. No, but it's not too bad. I'm doing good. I'm feeling good. I will say a couple things. I want to say a couple things first. I actually do like the music for the show. It's really good. I actually also
Thanks.
appreciate that your bandmate had you put the link in the chat because I copied and pasted it, and now I've got the window open so I can check it out later. So, uh,
Right on.
so very very cool. Secondly, thanks for that amazing introduction. You were like, oh yeah, you got a cool bio. I don't know where you got some of that. Some of that I think was my bio, but I think somebody embellished it, or maybe you wrote it. it's awesome to hear. I love hearing that what I've done. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, I
It's
did do that. I did do that.
yeah.
Yeah, and who I
Sometimes it's
am.
hard to hear that. Sometimes it's hard to
Yeah,
hear that,
right.
but not always. And this is a not
Yeah.
always time.
Yeah, no, it's nice, and it's also interesting sitting in the green room as a guest of a show, right? Because I host shows. What's up, Jennifer? I host a show on the Sacred Spiral Network. Huge, huge, huge shout out to the Sacred Spiral Network. Um,
Absolutely.
and and not only listening to what you were saying about yourself and the events that you're curating, right? The reason I love Sacred Spiral Network is because it's all about community, like
Yeah.
real authentic community that you can feel over the internet, right? Which is amazing. And actually, hearing what you're doing in your town, in your hometown, even locally, for community is it's just a testament to authenticity, so
Yeah.
kudos for all
Oh,
that stuff. Yeah, I know it's a lot
man,
of work.
thanks.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
it is a lot of work, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
For the
Well, if
community.
you love it, if you love it, it's
It
worth it,
ain't work. It's not
It's your
work.
life, it's your lifestyle, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not working. And that's what I love about, this whole thing because, it isn't work right now. Yeah, I have another job. I have a full-time job. I'm fortunate that I love my full-time job, but I also
Yeah.
do this and this grows all the time, right? So like eventually I feel like, it'll all become it is already who I am, right? My essence,
Yeah.
right? So, and
Yeah.
your essence. So, very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I mean, that's so good to hear somebody say that they love what they do,
Yeah.
because it's, more and more I feel like it's not what people say.
Right.
When someone asks, "What do you do?" And, "Well, I do this. I don't really like it." And,
Right.
so it's kind of cool to hear somebody say that, they do love what they do, and,
Right.
you
But
know,
I think that's also kind of a decision. And then I also think it's kind of it's not an immediate thing, right? Like sometimes, right? Like a musician or something like that. I guess, if you're making money as a musician and you get huge and famous suddenly, you know what I mean? But as a musician, you do it anyway, right? Even though
yeah,
maybe you're not worldwide known. And that's part of your essence. That's part of what you do. That's kind of what I'm saying. But like, so for my, part of what I do is web design, right? And I'm working on right before the show, I was working on a website for a gala for an organization here on the East Coast in Long Island, a charity gala, and it's a Dr. Seuss themed charity
oh, that's
gala.
cool.
So I'm like having so much fun with it, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'm like at home working after work, before the show, and like just grateful.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
With your work, and we talked a little before the show, and
Hmm.
how you're a part of the metaphysical community, paranormal, all of it. Um, do you find in your work, I mean, have you found after more and more time that you're in this community and a part of it, do you find different inspiration through your work, like for photography or just being creative? Are you able, I guess what I'm getting at is, do you see things in a different light the longer you're kind of embedded in this community? And
Sure.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
are
absolutely.
you
No,
looking beyond how you used to look at things?
sure, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think I'm not a big fan of catchphrases, right, and terminology, like the spiritual journey, right? I think a lot of people talk about their spiritual journey. Oh, I started my spiritual journey this time or that time. And to me, like, life is a spiritual journey, right? It's just only part of it becomes aware of the spiritual part, maybe, right? You weren't.
Yeah.
So, you know, uh, I feel like um, again, I'm very blessed. So like being a video guy, and like, photographer, one of the things I'm involved with this woman who's a good friend of mine now, who runs a bereavement group for parents who've lost a child to overdose.
Wow.
And it's a heavy, heavy topic. And this
That is
bereavement group that she's got is called it's Look Up for Adam. Her son was named Adam, but the Beating Hearts, Beading, the Beating Hearts, and they make these beads. I wish I had some. I don't have one with me. I have it hanging over my mirror in my car. That's what they make them for. And
yeah,
her son Adam made these beads when he was alive, and they had inspiring messages on them. And he would give them to his friends and stuff. So after he passed, she carried on that tradition. And then
wow,
this group, they make the beads, they sell them, they give them away.
yeah,
It's this group is so incredible. Like when you're with these folks who have all gone through this tragic, tragic loss, it's all about love, and there's so much like palpable love in the room for each other. I was talking about community, and that's a perfect example. And then their perspective on how they look at this tragedy as now they have these angels who are looking after them.
yeah,
And so I got involved with the group. Sorry that this story is so long. I got involved with the group, and one of the things they do is every August 31st, I think, is International Overdose Awareness Day.
okay,
And so every year they do an event, and what they do is so freaking awesome. They go to a dock. We live on Long Island, so they go to this dock, and they have these elephant ear. It's like a plant leaf. It's big, a big plant leaf. It's like that big, or
okay,
maybe that big. And they write messages to their loved ones that they've lost on these leaves. And each one by one, they walk to the end of the dock, and they kind of have a moment with their loved one, and they put it in the water, and it's all biodegradable, and it floats away. And it's like, so Linda asked me one year to document this, and I went down to document it, just thinking, okay, I'm going to just video it. I'm just going to do my thing. And man, it was so, I mean, I was in tears the whole time, because here I was spending a moment with, there were a lot of families. Each family, as they stepped down to the end of the dock, there I was. They were unaware of me. They were having their moment with their angel.
yeah,
And here I was kind of documenting it, but being a part of it, and being an empath, and being around, my metaphysical friends. I was feeling it on a
yeah,
very energetic level. It was like at the end, I'm in tears. I'm like, Linda, thank you so much, for inviting me to do this. And I do it every year. Um, and her son Adam would always say, to her, like, look up at the stars, like, look at how amazing it is, look up. So her foundation is Look Up for Adam. And every year at the dock, I have a drone, so I fly the drone above them, and I take a picture of them all looking up.
oh wow,
And it's again, like, how amazing is it that that's because I'm a photographer and a video guy. Like, I'm a part of it, and it's work, but it's life. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah, it's
and you get to experience those strong, real emotions, and you're in that bubble with them while you're
mhm,
there doing it, and
mhm.
it's that's really powerful. And
Yeah,
wow, what a that is like a super heavy topic,
yeah.
but
I gotta
it's
find
I
the
don't
link.
know,
I have a video that I compiled that I made, one year, that I was like on my YouTube or something. I wish I would have thought about it. I would have had the link, but I'll
yeah,
send it to you. We can put it in the show notes or
yeah,
whatever if people want to check it out. Yeah.
yeah, that'd be cool. What a I mean, it's very uplifting to me to know that these people are gathering, and even though it's a heavy topic,
Mhm.
they've got a positive look on it, that look who they've gained looking out for them.
Right.
And I believe we don't ever really leave the people we love.
And
And
I think
you know,
that's a great point, because I think that's part of their community, is that right? Part of their life experiences, they've lost this loved one. So whether it was out of need or out of their own actual experience,
yeah,
now they believe and they know that life
yeah,
goes on, right? That your energy, and you're always around. So like those people now probably, maybe that was part of their angel's mission, right? Like they were
yeah,
afraid of death, and now they're not. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
those people are living a much more peaceful life now, even though they've had a tragedy and they've lost a loved one. They've also gained, that experience and that knowledge.
Exactly. Yeah. Gain that knowledge and perspective. Yeah. And that can really change you and heal you to kind of have that realization of,
Hmm.
getting a piece of what's beyond, what's beyond this
Totally,
physical shell. Um,
totally. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you this kind of, when you're talking about this, it makes me think of these people coming together, and there is a shared general emotion and energy. You could find the same thing, maybe a different iteration of it at a concert,
Hmm.
right? Where
Hmm.
there's
Yeah, yeah.
a bunch of people, a
Fo-
baseball game.
Yeah, totally. I talk
You know,
about this all the time. It's so funny. Did we talk about this before?
I don't think
Because
so. I don't
I,
think
I
so.
I use the same metaphor for trying to explain energy to people. Like because people don't really understand sometimes. That you can feel energy, you can perceive it, you can transmit it, you can receive it, you can, all of these things.
Yeah. Yeah, so it made me kind of think while you're talking about this. I mean, what are your thoughts on when you have, and maybe this is a human thing, right? Maybe this is a human thing. It might be an animal thing too. When you get a bunch of energy together,
Hmm.
and that if there's a shared sentiment, like at a rock concert, everyone's there to rock out and have a great time, and right,
Hmm. Hmm.
that's the
Hmm.
energy they're putting out. What are your thoughts on? Is there do you think there is a singular energy that we're all a part of, that
Hmm.
everything is a part of? Or
Hmm.
is it more, do you think it could be a segmented thing, but when you think about a group of people having a shared emotion,
Hmm. Hmm.
is
Hmm.
there is it does it become a singular energy? So like out there, the universe, or however you want to look at it or think about it,
Right.
do you think there's a singular energy?
No, that's a great, amazing question, and I don't think there's one answer, but I do think yes, I think that it's everybody's energy is merging and tuning to the same frequency, which in turn I think amplifies that frequency, especially being physically in that area with all the
Yeah.
people. There's so many aspects to it, but I definitely think so. I mean, I guess that kind of is the question of what do you believe, right? Like that we are as souls and vessels, and to answer that, I believe that we are all a fragmented piece of the one, the source of everything is we're all a piece of it. And I don't know if you know about how a hologram works, but a single like pixel of a hologram holds the whole image, holds all of the information for the image. And I believe that's kind of what we are. Like, I'm just a single pixel,
Yeah.
but in me somehow is encoded everything else. You know what I mean? And so because I believe that, then, I can
Yeah.
kind of, answer that question that way. Yeah.
It's a great answer, and I kind of, I think I agree with you. I don't know where I'm at on it yet,
Right.
right? I'm
Right.
gonna keep trying to learn, but the concept of, the pixel is, I think, really illustrating that, because we do hold so much within
Hmm.
ourselves.
Hmm.
And a lot of it, I think depending on what you believe, like you said, we hold our soul's journey that goes back as far as it goes on
Hmm.
this planet, maybe,
Hmm.
or maybe
Hmm.
it's beyond.
Right.
And so, yeah, I would agree. Like, we're like a pixel, but we hold so much. Have you thought about or looked into the Akashic record? Um, and what that's all about. Have you looked into
Yeah,
that
actually,
before?
I have. Interesting you say that, and I want to remember the drop in the ocean metaphor too. But I don't really pursue um intuitive development classes a lot, although I feel like I should be all the time, right? I'm like, oh my God, I got, but I do a lot of work with a lot of different metaphysical gifted people in barter.
Okay.
So at one point, this woman, Lynn Laborde, who's amazing, and she's a channel, and she does all these amazing things. I worked with her, and oh my God, I just lost my thought. What? Ask the question again.
So, well, you were talking about Lynn Laborde
Yeah.
and the Akashic record and
Oh,
how
the
you
Akashic Records,
infiltrate.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
that's that's all I needed.
Yeah.
So she, sorry, she had a class in learning how to read the Akashic Records.
Yeah.
So I took this class, and wow, now that I'm talking about it, through that class, I had so many crazy experiences, right? It was a Zoom class, so
Okay.
there was probably 15 or 18 people on the screen, and I can remember this one moment, like kind of looking at all the different screens, right? And kind of relating to each person, and like all of a sudden, like just seeing my reflection in all of them, and just feeling the incredible connection with all of them. It was an energetic experience. It was not just physical and emotional and intellectual. There was this energy to it. um and then through the class, like one of the first exercises, I forget what they call it, spiritual surgery, or I forget what they call it, but basically we were reading the notes to the class, and each person would read a paragraph, and if they tripped over a word, or like hesitated or pronounced a word wrong, she would stop and go through this series of questions about, like, almost like psychological, like a psychiatrist would ask, like, what did that feel like, does it have a shape, does it have a size, does it have a temperature, like really kind of an interesting exercise. And that was part of, like, I guess, learning how to, like, use your intuition, right? And so I really found the exercises very interesting. I found the experiences that I was having with the people interesting, and then you had to practice on each other.
Yeah.
So I was given a partner, and I had to read. And I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just kind of going with the flow of what I was feeling, and wow, I'm trying to remember. Like, I remember feeling like this ancient Egyptian uh environment, and soldiers, and like it was interesting, and I was just saying this stuff, and the person I was reading was resonating with all of it, and like,
Wow.
wow, wow, wow. And I was just, I had no idea. I didn't, honestly, I'll be honest, I didn't like feel anything special about
Yeah.
what was happening. I mean, I was kind of amazed, but it wasn't like, oh my God, I got to do this again, right? And like, I wasn't really drawn to it. I was fascinated by it. Um,
Yeah.
and again, with my own beliefs, I believe that we're all part of this big energy. We're all here to perceive our own thing. You know what I mean? I see so
Yeah.
many different people that I resonate with them on one level, but like on other levels, maybe not. But like, it doesn't matter. Like Bashar, Daryl Enka, right?
Hmm.
Like, I mean, like, I hear his message loud and clear. And do I sometimes question, like, is he a hybrid being from another planet? Is there some other soul connecting to him at the moment? It's like I question it, but I don't. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like, wow, that sounds really science fictional. And then it's like,
Yeah.
but it makes so much sense to the things that I believe about energy, the things that I believe about the time, existing all at once, and all of these crazy
Yeah.
theories that I've heard. So back to kind of what you were talking about, right? And I said the metaphor with the drop in the ocean,
Yeah.
similar to the pixel, right? So if a wave splashes and this drop goes flying, that drop is a part of the ocean, but for that moment, it's an individual thing. It's the drop,
Yeah.
and then it goes back and it merges into the ocean. Like, is that a fractal of a soul's journey, you know what I mean? Like, who knows? But it's that same idea that when you think about it, it just feels comfortable. Something about
Yeah.
that metaphor just feels right, and it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, that makes sense. And I think that's what people are talking about now when they say just be yourself, just like believe what you believe, like really just like it's not as serious as they're making it out, right? It's just that's a simple thing, it's not
Yeah.
like am I left wing, am I right wing? No, no, it's not any of that, you know what I mean? It's like it's so much more basic than that, you know.
Yeah, and I love the drop in the ocean metaphor in the
Yeah,
Akashic record. The premise of it, the framework of it, it it being itself is, I think, a really good indication. If you can have access to all human experience and thought,
right,
that speaks to being that pixel or that
right.
drop or
Totally.
that
You
drop.
want to hear another great metaphor? Oh my God, we could
Yeah,
do a whole
sure,
show on
yeah.
these metaphors.
Let's
I heard this one. I just heard this one today, and it blew my mind. It's so simple, right? It's like a record, right? And a song. The song is on the record, right? The whole song exists on the record, but depending on where that needle is in the groove, is the moment of the song that you're hearing.
Yeah.
You know what I
Ah,
mean? And it's like, you think about the Akashic records, like, well, you just want to go forward in time, put the groove on another needle. I mean, put the needle on another groove. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
You wanna go
Um,
back? Put it
yeah,
yeah.
it's just amazing. I was just like, and that's also a great metaphor for time existing all at once, right? Like, all of the, it's just, you hear these things and it all becomes so much clearer, but so much fuzzier at the same time.
That's that's when you know you're onto something. Uh, I think I've joked on the show before. If you're left with more questions, you're on the right path.
Right.
Because if you're not and it's just so cut and dry, then it's just a thing. It's
Yeah.
just, it's a piece. If
Right.
you got something that's cut and dry, but that's why I think the community of the metaphysical and the paranormal and cryptozoology, all that stuff is because we don't have answers and we're curious, and that's what a big part of
Right.
staying in that community and learning and
Right.
um,
And then
yeah,
you
well,
struggle with like, wait a second, I'm supposed to be here just enjoying being a human, not thinking about all of this stuff. Let's
yeah,
go to the beach, you know what I mean?
yeah. But then we're pinged with so many things,
Yeah,
all the time. I forget about just going for a walk or whatever, or
totally.
sitting in the grass, and just like, connecting with the ground. Like,
Yeah.
you forget about that. I forget about it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
you
I'm
know,
guilty for sure. But then
we're
when you
we're
remember, it's awesome.
it
When you're like,
is.
oh my God, this feels so good.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
One other thing I wanted to talk to you about is um, music and spirituality and kind of the
Okay.
connection there. Um, we all agree that sound waves are energy, so
Mm-hmm.
obviously that can be a motor or a catalyst.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I just feel like looking back on my life and um, knowing, meeting new people and through the paranormal and everything, there's a lot of musicians who are very intuitive
Mm-hmm.
or very empathic or psychic, or they're mediums, or they're
Mm-hmm.
just tied into something bigger than what we know to be and what we
Sure.
see. Has that been like, have you kind of noticed that over
Oh,
time?
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think creatives in general, right, are that way. I think creativity is is channeling. I think, when you're creating art or creating music, there's a channeling aspect to that. There, that flow state. I think that's where channeling happens also. Channeling happens in this kind of flow state. And
Yeah.
so music absolutely brings you there. 1,000,000%. I think painting does for some people, drawing. I think
Yep.
dancing, like somebody who's really passionate about that thing. I think it becomes very evident and that you can see they're in a flow state, right? Like a great athlete or a great dancer or somebody that you're watching and you're just like, wow, you almost can sense how connected they are to what it is that they're doing, right? And I think that
Yeah.
that's energy, right there, and that's important. And yeah, I think it's totally connected. I can remember, like growing up, I used to play in a band, and I played like 5 nights a week at my friend's house in the basement, and I just felt like music was a dance. It was a conversation, like not a dance like you're dancing by yourself, but a dance with other people, like a choreographed dance. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Or a conversation, or it was just, it's just, again, it's just that flow state. And, especially like we were really into just original music. We didn't want to learn covers. I never really was into that as a younger kid. I
I
just wanted,
support that.
yeah, I just wanted to like make music. It was like so cool that I could pick up a bass and play some sort of riff. And then all of a sudden with a drum beat and a guitar, it's like it became something bigger, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Or even just by myself, I could play a riff and then change it to another riff, and now I'm building a song. Now I'm building something, you know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
was coming from somewhere, you know what I mean? And I don't think I looked at it that way when I was doing it at the
Right.
time. I thought
Yeah.
I was doing it, and I was certainly. I mean, it was part of my fractal,
Yeah. Yeah.
journey. But again, as I got older and was able to look back on those moments, I was like, holy crap, that was channeling. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I didn't know it at the time. Yeah. Mary says almost like an out of body experience. Absolutely, I
Yeah.
feel like when you are in the zone, and you're doing something that you love, it is an out of body experience. You know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because part of you is connecting to something
Right.
outside
Yeah.
of you. So
Yeah.
it is very
Exactly.
much like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I like that you mentioned like the flow state, and if for those, if you're trying to figure out what that is, I think it's um when you're playing music, let's say, and I know you just kind of touched on this experience. You're in a state of presence,
Hmm.
and the focus you have, or if you're painting a picture, you're there,
Hmm.
present in that moment with a
as
focus,
as much as you can be, yeah, like
right?
that's
And
it.
that is
Yeah.
when the flow state happens.
Yep. Yep.
People
Yep.
say
Totally.
people say, can you learn to be psychic? Well,
Hmm.
I think we all are inherently. We just
Hmm.
don't
Hmm.
remember how to use it from when we were little tiny babies.
Right.
Um,
Right. I
you
agree with
know,
that.
it gets buried with our lives,
Hmm.
with our
For
beliefs, with
sure.
our bias, religion.
For sure.
It's there, and so I say it's a matter of getting in the right headspace, the right flow state. Uh,
Yeah.
like when you're jamming out, I know that when I'm jamming out, I'm not thinking about anything else. And like I'm there, and
Right.
there's like this connection, and
Yep.
I'm not thinking about yesterday. I'm not thinking about tomorrow. I'm writing the envelope, whatever you want to call it.
Right. Right. Right.
Uh, but it becomes a flow state for that. And
Yeah.
so, I think everybody can do that and find their own way in it, as long as they can find whatever that is that can put them
Yeah.
in
A
that state
million
of
percent.
presence.
I agree. Yeah. 1,000,000%. I
Yeah.
mean, and actually, as you're saying it, for some reason, something what's coming to my head is like some accountant, right, who's doing some crazy like math stuff, but loving it and like being in a flow state doing that. You know what I mean? Like I feel
Yep.
like I don't know why I was thinking that, like where that came from, but like anything can be a flow state. I guess that's kind of what you're saying, right? As long as you're in that
Yeah,
moment, connected to that moment as much as you can be, it's a flow
exactly.
state. Yeah.
You could be writing a paragraph to a short story, or sketching on your doodle pad,
Right. Exactly.
and you can get there. And I think
Totally. And
that's
I think that also, what's up, Reverend? What's up, Jason? Um, I think that's also like a microcosm. You can take that back from the flow state, and you can use that as a tool for life, right? For just kind of dealing with everyday life. I think, you know, you can become like life can become a flow state, you know, if you allow it to. And again, you hit it on the head, the idea of just being in the moment, right? So like the way I go through my day is like, okay, yeah, I have a full-time job. Do I love having to go to work? No. But do I love what I do? Yes. So I'm grateful. So I drive to work with this attitude of this is just a moment that I have to I don't love using the word have to. This is a moment that I'm going through to get from my house to my job. And then I'll be doing my job, which I love. Um, you know, so I just feel like you can apply some of the philosophies that you learn when you achieve these awarenesses of what just happened, right? Like, you know,
yeah,
like I said, I didn't know I was channeling at 20 years old until I was 50 years old, you know, and then I'm like, oh, that's what I was doing back then. And then now I can apply that to when I'm playing music. I can kind of get into that state quicker. I can
yeah,
appreciate it more. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I can be like, oh, awesome! I get to do this again. You know, I can be more grateful for it. You know,
yeah.
I mean, there's so many things. What's
Yeah,
this? Investigations?
you're you know, you're so psychic you just don't want to admit it. Corey, longtime friend of this show, he's actually been reading about investigations with people using music while doing Bigfoot
Interesting.
research and getting responses back. It's kind of interesting,
That is
something I
interesting.
never would have thought of trying. And I've heard of people uh, when they're doing a Bigfoot and a search out in the woods, or camping out there, that to play guitar around the campfire. They can it's got to be interesting for them. And but I think the energy from it too. And so I've always thought, like, if I ever go out for a uh, Sasquatch investigation, I'm taking music instruments and I want to have a jam
That's
session
cool. That's
and
cool.
say, "Hey, come and join us."
So
Um,
let me
but
ask you a question. If we're talking about Bigfoot and Sasquatch, like I just recently kind of heard the idea about presented that Bigfoot is an interdimensional being.
yeah,
And I just I guess, you know, again, like just not being aware of these different concepts, like I just never really heard that, but that resonated with me somehow, you know, again, just like even aliens, right? Like any sort of being that people have these encounters with, but it's not like a daily thing, right? It's not like in our daily life. It's just kind of like
yeah,
this freak moment
yeah,
where the dimensions are crossing, or that entity kind of has some sort of understanding of how to materialize, you know,
yeah,
interdimensionally.
yeah. That is, it's interesting to look at how Bigfoot and that whole all the research and everything is looked at. There's kind of there's a couple of camps, right?
Hmm.
And for those that are thinking about it all the time, there's a couple of
Hmm.
camps. There's Bigfoot is a relict hominid
Hmm.
from long ago.
Hmm.
Bigfoot is an interdimensional being. And I've
Hmm.
always thought it's both.
Hmm.
And
Hmm. Hmm.
that I think it could be a relic species from this planet that learned how to unlock the mysteries of this planet that we
Hmm.
don't know about or can't comprehend, such as camouflage or
Hmm.
travel,
Hmm.
interdimensional travel.
Hmm.
That's kind of where I'm at with all of it.
Hmm.
Is I'm kind of in between. I think it could be a combination of both,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm. Hmm.
types of
Interesting.
thinking there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's interesting. And I think what's cool is like even being at this point in my life where I'm just like open to infinite possibilities, right? Like all of the different
yeah,
stories that I've heard about someone made a post on Facebook today, like I guess there's a lot of sinkholes happening. They're like, what's up with all the sinkholes? I don't know, maybe that's local on the East Coast or something, but I'm just like Hollow Earth, like, and just like half joking, right? Like, because I believe, uh, I was given some information at one point, right? This is the only experience I've ever had in my life that I would call a download, right? Because of the
Okay.
way the experience felt.
Yep.
Like it was just like this whirlwind of a thought into this visceral experience of like a moment and then back into the moment that I had left, but with all of this new information. Right. And that information was very simple. It was that reality exists within imagination. It's not the other way around. That, you know, imagination is not something that we conjure up. Like,
Yeah.
and again, that's just kind of an odd thing to hear, but also resonate with and just feel like there's some sort of comfort in that.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that to me, it explains a lot of things. It explains the people that I know that talk about fairies and interactions with dragons and things like that, right? Like, I personally have a very hard time, not that I don't do it, I'm a human being and I certainly judge at moments, but I
Yeah.
have a very hard time denying somebody of their experience. If they're telling me that they experienced this thing, and again, I'm not saying that people aren't, there's not charlatans out there that, you know,
Yeah.
I feel the energy and I'm just like, maybe I'm not resonating with what you're telling me. But most of the time when people tell me like pretty fantastic things, I do resonate with it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, like tell me more, not like, oh, you're a wacko. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, tell what does that feel like? And interestingly enough, like let's not even talk about aliens and interdimensional things. Let's talk about another thing, which may be controversial to somebody, but I did a show for a while called oh my God, what was it called? Strange and Wonderful. And it was a show about people who didn't quite live a normal lifestyle or what most people would consider a normal lifestyle. And I was doing the show with a girl who asked me to help her kind of do this show, who she was in a relationship with a doll. So she
Okay.
had a life-size doll that she called her girlfriend. She had a regular human boyfriend, but this was her existence. And when she approached me, I felt like I didn't feel like judgment. I was like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like, what does that feel like? What is that about? So I helped her create this show, and then the first guest on the show was this trans woman who also was in a relationship with a doll. And so there's a whole community that she knew of these people who this first guest came from. And when I interviewed this woman, trans woman, um, I felt my head expand. I felt my heart expand, like just kind of just opening up to her to hear the story of who she was and
Yeah.
why does she perceive things that way? Not like, oh my God, like not why do you perceive that things that way, but like, wow, why do you perceive things that way? You know what I mean? Like just with an open heart.
Yeah.
And it was just an amazing experience, and I think that changed who I was, like to really start being open to people. I was never really a fan of people. Um, and it just opened me up to it, and it also, again, here's another great story about perception and energy, right? When I say I wasn't a fan of people, I literally said this out loud. I would say this out loud to people. I would say 95% of the people that I meet are morons. They have no idea what it means to be a human being living on a planet with other human beings. Like period. Like that's was my statement, and that's how I walked around. That was my perception, and that's what I lived. It was only when I changed that perception and I started looking for the good in people and kind of I dismissed that. I was like, you know what, maybe that's a little harsh, right? And I'm not saying there's not I got it from somewhere, right? Like there was something that made
Yeah.
me feel that way. But that wasn't my lens anymore. I took those glasses off and I put on a different prescription, and it really changed my life. And it was, again, I guess it's a more of an example of you get back what you put out, right?
Yep.
And so now, again, I'm on this show with you. The Sacred Spiral Network is so many amazing people that I'm friends with from that network. I've brought a lot of crazy people that I know, a wizard, a psychic, all to the network, right? Like, and they were welcomed with open arms to this network of people, and now have their own shows and are like their own, you know, their own, I don't want to say celebrities, but they're their own kind of personalities
Yeah.
within the group,
Yeah.
and it's really great. So, again, I couldn't be happier. I'm, just even being here, like, just amazing. Like, this is
Yeah.
so cool. Like, I get to talk about things I love. You get to do the things you love,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
We're gonna say Corey's got to sign out, and 'cause he got early work. He's kind of more in your
Peace.
neck of the woods,
Yeah. Yeah.
closer, anyways. But thanks for watching, Corey, and
Yeah,
we'll
totally. Thanks, Corey. Good to
talk to you
meet you.
soon. Um, Revered Wolf sounds crazy. I didn't believe in the stuff either. Talking about dragons until I
Hmm.
re-examined
Hmm.
history,
Hmm.
and what we were told was a myth. But
Sure.
I want to touch on, you said something a little bit ago, and it was kind of a light bulb for me when you were saying how I'm a human being, and I, like anybody else, can judge and this and that. But the important part, and I think this says it all in your what you've kind of journeyed through life, and now you wear that different prescription, as you say. You learned, don't deprive people of their experiences.
Hmm.
And that's just it. We can all have opinions. We can
Hmm.
all, you know,
Hmm.
uh, we can all think what we want,
Right.
right? But the key is, right, to not deprive people of their experience.
Right.
That's the key to, like, changing the prescription.
Right. Totally.
Because, I'll be honest with you, I feel like a lot of times I'm like in that 95% of people are idiots.
Yeah,
You know? You know,
I
that's
don't
kind
blame
of,
you, and I don't judge you for
yeah,
it.
right. But it's interesting in the work I do with mediumship, or like the ghost tours, the ghost conference. I do a lot of ghost tours, and
Yeah,
I've been lucky enough to host a lot of people, and I hear a lot of stories,
I
and
can
you can
imagine.
just sometimes I joke that I'm thankful I'm not a proctologist, because I'd have to hear all those stories. But it's cool to hear all these
What's up,
stories and
Jules?
experiences. It's like, not that's a great way to put it, to not deprive somebody of their experience,
Yeah,
because you end up getting more out of it
totally,
when you don't do that, because then
totally,
you're not shut down, and so
totally.
it's a
So,
really
so
neat concept.
yeah, yeah. Here's a good experience that I just had. Just again, this is all perfect. No coincidences, right? There is a friend of mine has been sending me videos from this woman whose name is Christina Bruno, and she does divining rods. She's versed in Anunnaki and ancient history, and I'm sure she has a lot of knowledge. But the videos that he's been sending me, she's been kind of targeting other people that I listen to, like Elizabeth April or Bashar, right? And I listen to these people with a grain of salt. I'm not following anybody like, oh my God, the guru or whatever. Like I get what I need from those interactions.
Yeah,
And I was getting triggered. I was like, what's wrong with this woman? Like, this isn't spiritual to put other people down and say this
yeah,
guy's lying or that, and it took me a few days to kind of, process videos, and then she started coming up in my feed. And then I just basically like responded to a video and I said, I want to ask you an honest question. I said, if the goal is unity, right? And you believe that we're all here perceiving our own to perceive our own experience, then wouldn't it make sense that these people are just um, relaying their experience, right? They're just telling other people about their experience. And maybe that's not. And then I realized, I said, maybe it's your mission and your experience to do that, right? To go up against these people and feel
Yeah.
like you need to talk about this because that's your mission. So I was able to kind of let go of my judgment of her and not be so triggered and just be like, okay, listen, if that's what gets you going, you know what I mean? It's like I just was able to let it go. Unconditional love is always the answer, Jules. Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like and I feel like I'm almost grateful, right? Like this was put in my path to teach me that. After you kind of make these realizations, you're like, "Oh man, I was being silly." Like, like here I am judging somebody because they're judging somebody else,
Yeah.
right? And it's like I don't want to be like them. I don't want to judge them. Like, okay,
Yeah.
you're just making it clear what your essence is, and that's what your essence is, and that's cool, you know?
Yeah. It's very human. you
Yeah,
know,
oh yeah. Hell yeah.
it's very human to do that.
Yeah.
Which side of the human I would it's, we could debate, that maybe the physical side, the animal side,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
is yeah, Jules says, I promise 100% money back guarantee.
Yeah, totally.
um, yeah, but that's a wonderful thought that I hope people will take away from the show tonight is to being conscious of not depriving people of their experiences like that. I think
Mhm.
I hope that everybody listening and watching or will listen to the replay of this will take that with you, for the next week and the next
Cool.
month maybe,
That's a
and
good one.
try
I like it.
right and
Yeah.
try. Kelly saying hi. Hey,
What's up, Kelly?
thanks for
Good to see
watching,
you.
Kelly. Um, and thanks to everybody for the comments and stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Thanks.
I was just, Jules is a friend of mine who showed up, and she was a guest on my show. She has an amazing experience and video that you would probably be interested in.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
it's like a security video or like a, surveillance video of her
Yeah.
sleeping, and in the middle of the night she has a interaction with her grandfather, and her you hear her voice and you hear her grandfather's voice. She's just laying in the bed. It's crazy, and it's a great
That's cool.
story, and it put her on this mission of trying to find out what that experience meant, and if she could do it more.
Yeah.
So Jules, reach out to Pete. Maybe
Yeah.
he'll have you on.
You can
You
go
know?
through portgambleparanormal.com.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
portgambleparanormal.com.
sounds like a cool experience.
The video is amazing. You got to see the
To be
video. It's
able to,
amazing.
and we can only hope as a field, the field of paranormal research is that we keep capturing more evidence until we get proof, which
Hmm.
I don't know that we'll ever get proof. But as long as
Hmm.
we keep gathering data and we keep gathering the evidence and the experiences,
Exactly.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Jules is saying it was during an out of body
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, I would be feeling out of body experience too,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
and
great story. Yeah. No, she has this, like you hear the voices and she has the story that goes along with it, like what she was experiencing
yeah,
when you hear the dialogue.
gosh,
It's
that's
yeah,
cool.
really, really, really
That's
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're almost out of time,
Oh, wow.
and I want to thank you so much for
That was a lot of fun. Yeah. Great conversation.
being here, being here for this conversation and being present
Thanks for
for it.
inviting me.
But tell folks about your shows when they're on, because I certainly enjoyed being on there. I think you talk
Cool.
about fascinating stuff,
Thank you.
that connects all of us, whether people think so or not.
That's what the show
Uh,
is really about. Yeah, the live stream of consciousness is on Thursday nights on YouTube, the live stream of consciousness. And it's really about that, right? I give people a chance to hold up their puzzle piece so we can see, oh, wait, my piece fits over here, or my piece fits over here. I don't resonate with that person, whatever.
Yeah.
Just to kind of show, people all of the different puzzle pieces, right, that exist, and then holding space is on the Sacred Spiral Network, which is very similar. Just I'm there to hold space for somebody who I feel is interesting, or just has an interesting story to share. And I guess that's really it. Like you said, like, I don't really hold judgment, so that's how I kind of got in this spot of being the host of these shows. I never ever thought I was going to be in front of the camera. I was always a, behind the scenes
Yeah.
guy. And it just happened. And, I love it. I can't say I don't. I love, because now I'm more energetically sensitive, right? I can connect with the audience on a different level. So I
Yeah.
love this platform. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Jules is asking how to contact. So if you go to portgambleparanormal.com, there will be a book a psychic reading button. You can click on that to get a hold of me.
There you go.
And thanks, Jules. I would be interested in hearing about, seeing your experience that you
Yeah.
had. Sounds incredible. But
Cool.
man, thank you so much. This has been,
Thank you.
I'm really enjoying talking to you. And
Me too. It's great. I
yeah, and
appreciate that.
thanks again for staying up late
Yeah, no worries.
with
No,
me here.
I'm gonna go to bed happy, and I got a full day tomorrow, so
Right
it's all
on.
it's I'm gonna sleep well.
No, that's cool. Well, I leave every show with this quote from my wonderful wife, Molly. And I hope that people can take tonight, don't be conscious of don't deprive people of their experience. Take that with you. But I also want to send this with you, Michael, and with everybody out there. A quote from my wife, Molly: "The earth is heavy, but the universe is light. When met with stress or sorrow or even overwhelming joy, know that today is the history of tomorrow. Accept it for what it is and move forward into the brightness of the next moment." And
Awesome.
so I
Thank you,
leave
Molly.
that. Yeah, isn't that great? I
That's
leave that
great.
with everybody. Michael, get some rest, and don't work too hard. And everybody out there, don't work too hard. Be present each day with those that you have. Be present, and we'll see you next month, mid-month. I'll be posting about the next show coming up, so and be announcing a guest very soon. So, but thanks for watching my once a month show. Check out
Peace.
Michael's shows. Check out everybody on sacredspiralnetwork.com,
Yeah.
and we'll see everybody soon. Peace out for the
Bye,
rest of the
guys.
Take
Thank
care.
you.